up, bosses? Welcome back to the hottest show on the internet. That's right, the Truck Boss Show. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you're up to date on the show, because we can't do this without your support. All right, let's jump right on into what we have in store for you today. First up, we have Matt the Little Guy showing us how to check your fuses with a multimeter. We visit with the folks from Diesel Porn about their trucks, apparel, and more. Then we dive into the world of car transportation with Yellow Brick Transport. Take it away, James. Have you blown a fuse lately? You might want to be packing a multimeter. Here's the Little Guy on how to check your fuses with a multimeter. Check it out.
What's going on, you guys? Little Guy with the Truck Boss Show, and I'm going to show you how to save a little bit of money by checking fuses. Here we go! What's going on, you guys? Alright, so have you ever had lights go out, radio not working, CB not working, something not working, right? That was working. Well, before you go and put your truck into the shop or go to a dealer, oh my god, I don't know, check your fuses. It might be that simple. First thing you want to do is you want to locate your fuse location where your fuses are. There's multiple locations. There's a fuse box under the hood, there's a fuse box in the cab, there's a fuse box in the sleeper. You got to know your truck. Right now we're looking at the one in the cab. Okay? Took the little panel off, and behind on the panel you'll have a diagram that shows you what fuse and or relay does what. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to ohm out check resistance on a fuse. It's the fastest way to check fuses. That way you don't have to sit there with the little thing and pull the fuse out, put it back in, look at it. No. We're going to do a simple resistance test, basically. Alright, so I'm going to turn the camera around and show you real quick. Alright, you guys. This is very simple stuff. You can get almost any multimeter to do this, okay? You get a cheapest multimeter. You can even do this with a test light, okay? But right now we're using a multimeter with the two standard leads. We have it set in the ohm setting here on the multimeter with the sound. So we're going to check to make sure that there's no open circuits. Basically, we're making sure that there's no blown fuses. And what you do is the first thing you do is turn your multimeter on. Okay, let me just show you here. You just turn it to that setting right there. And what this is going to do is it's going to give you a beep noise if you have a good, clean connection. Now, if we have a broken connection, let's say like one of these leads had a broken wire in it or something like that, we would not get that beep, okay? So this is how you make sure, the first thing you do once you've located your fuse panel and all that good stuff, and you're going to locate the fuse you want to test, you want to make sure your multimeter is working properly. Okay? Now that we know the multimeter is working properly, we're going to check our fuses. Now, in most cases, the little fuse box will have a little plastic needle nose looking thing to yank your fuses out and check them. Well, if you don't want to yank fuses out and your hands are, it's too, there's a lot going on here. You can get zapped in some cases if you're not careful, because you got a lot of wires in here rubbing back and forth. Sometimes you get a short, and that might be why that circuit, radio, that light, that fan broke in the first place. So you got to be careful when you go sticking your hand into a live fuse panel. That's why we're going to check the fuses with this. It's very simple and it's very safe. All you got to do is check your fuses. And if you got a good fuse, you'll get a beep. See that? You just touch both edges, touch both ends of the fuse. That's where the connection, the electricity is going. It's going from one end to the other. Okay? So if this fuse is blown, this thing is not going to beep. And it's beeping. Check the other one here. See? It's beeping. Another way to do this, obviously, is to pull the actual fuse out. Now, to visually inspect the fuse, all you have to do is look through it. You'll see that little metal U-shaped, that's the fuse in there. That's the piece of metal. And basically the way a fuse works is if there is too much voltage and amperage going to this circuit, it's going to get hot and it's going to pop and break that little piece of metal. And what that does is once that piece of metal breaks, it says, hey, you're sending way too much amperage. You're pulling too much out of me. I can't handle it. And it breaks and it cuts the circuit and it stops the electricity from flowing to whatever device you're running or whatever circuit you're on. But sometimes it's hard to see these things. You're looking at it, it's got crappy lighting, you can't really tell if it's burnt up or it's broken in there. So this is where the multimeter comes in play. You just take the fuse out, put one of the leads on one end, like this, one of the leads on the other end. And you got that beep. That means you got a good, clean circuit. So there you have it. That's the easiest way to check fuses fast. If you can't get your little fingers in there and you don't have a tool to get it out or one of those little plastic, you're really not supposed to use these because they're metal. And if you go and stick metal into a fuse box and you hit the wrong thing, and you can have a bad day. But be careful, obviously. Use the plastic one if they have it. But if you don't have the plastic one and you can't get your little finger in there, carefully pull the fuse out and check it. But if you want to do it fast without pulling the fuses out, get a multimeter, get a test light. That way you can just check your circuits, check your batteries, and always make sure you have extra bulbs, extra fuses, extra glad hand seals in your toolbox, because you never know when you might blow a fuse. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Little Guy Truck Boss Show. See you later.
If you don't already have one of those nifty devices, you can always pick one up at your local Walmart, AutoZone, Home Depot, or Lowe's. Or heck, jump online and order one from Amazon, but make sure you read those reviews first. Brittany, what do you have on your end?
Thanks, Nikki. This next story takes us back to Onaway Speedway's Big Rig Challenge, where we got to meet a lot of fun people there, but one team stood out, the Diesel Porn Apparel team. From Michigan, these truckers were ready to lay it all down on race day, and they definitely did. Check this out.
Onaway Speedway's Big Rig Challenge, the only one of its kind in the United States, had people from everywhere drawn to the races to watch or to drive. And Chris LaFave, owner of Diesel Porn Apparel, was one of those guys that came to race. A third-generation trucker, Chris's grandfather was in trucking and his dad owned his own trucking company. So it's no surprise we found him at Onaway with 3 iron giants that were souped up to compete.
When I was younger in the 80s, my dad built a race truck that we raced at Milan Dragway. Took a cab-over truck with a 12V71 Detroit diesel in it and put a Suburban body on it and raced it at the Dragway. And everyone asked him why. He said, "'Cause I can."
And ever since then, you just fell in love with it.
Yeah, and it's kind of gone away. And then when Onaway here brought the races here, we come up for the first one and just watched. And I looked at my dad while I was here. I'm like, I'm going to be back here next time with the truck. And it kind of grew from 1 truck to 2 trucks to now 3 trucks racing.
Chris's team raced their 3 trucks in 4 of the different classes at Onaway. The team consisted of Terry racing Class C Mechanical, Greg racing in Class C Regular, and Chris himself racing in Class B Regular and Free-for-All, where Class A and Class B cross the lines and compete.
Each class has its variations that we can do. The C class, it's limited to a 76mm turbo, no smoke on after the shift. Like you can smoke a little on the shift so you can keep turning your fuel up till you get to that point. Limit of 2,400 RPM. B class, we're limited to an 81mm turbo. You can dump as much fuel, everything, but it has to be stock looking. There's also extra safety protocols we have to go through, stuff, scatter blankets, things like that to keep the drive shaft in the frame. And then A classes run whatever you want. It's like those guys are crazy. We've spent a lot of money on our trucks. Those guys, I do not want to spend that money.
Working for hours upon hours to get all 3 trucks up and ready for race day, the Diesel Porn Apparel team didn't get a lot of shut-eye, but were mighty proud of their trucks and gave us an up-close and personal look.
This truck is a 2018 Western Star, and last year the DD15 in it blew up and spun the rod bearing. So this motor was my B-class motor that was in my Kenworth over here. We pulled it out, put it in here, and we detuned it to run it in C-class because I wasn't spending the money to fix that. It's an 18-speed, 390 rear ends or 391 rear ends, custom tuned by Elite Diesel, injector work by Superior Diesel out of Detroit. And there's APC, American Premium Castings head out of Washington, the AFA Industries and Rebuild kits out of Troy, Michigan. So that's in this motor and that motor, exact same parts. These motors are identical that I built. That one's, we did a few extras.
And the extras were what helped this Kenworth race in Class B and free-for-all. For a truck that just got finished right before the races, it looks pretty clean. And when it comes to all the bells and whistles, Chris always takes care of his team.
All the graphics, all the lights, my driver Greg, I bought him, this is his first new truck, his whole trucking career he ever had. So when I bought it, I surprised him, I opened the door, and he's like, oh, you bought another truck? I go, no, I bought you a truck. And I said, you can do whatever you want. I don't care, whatever. I'll pay you to do it, I'll pay for the parts. So he's done, every light turns blue. He put the skulls across the sides, he put the graphics on it, he put the flames on it. That's all him. We just put the bull horns on it this morning. He just got done putting those on. We diamond plated the back, custom fenders. I mean, everything we do, pretty much do ourselves if we can't buy it.
So about how much did Chris spend on his truck to trick it out and get them in racing shape? Some secrets won't be revealed.
Put it this way, I started Diesel Porn Apparel because my wife was saying it was costing us too much money, so we started the apparel company to pay for this.
Everyone we came in contact with at Big Rig was so friendly, and Chris felt the same way. The bond of brotherhood helped when drivers or trucks ran into trouble.
Hey, you know what? Everybody here from Onaway that we've met and we race with,
Yeah.
I'd say 95% of these people are so helpful. Someone's truck breaks,
Yeah.
and if I know someone's truck is broke, either me or my guys are over there helping. We have a tool, it's yours. We have a part, it's yours. Same thing the other way. Everybody helps everybody. Last year in September, we had Mike's house is just behind the track, and he's got a big shop in there. We had 7 trucks in there broke down. There was like 25 of us in there working on trucks, trying to get them all back and running to get them running for the next morning. So yeah, everybody could race because you don't want to win a race by a technicality. I want to beat you at the line. I don't want to beat you in the pits.
And boy, did the Diesel Porn Apparel team's hard work pay off. The team took home 3 trophies from Big Rig Challenge. Terry took 2nd in the mechanical bobtail. Greg won 5th in Class C bobtail. And Chris took 3rd place in Class B bobtail. A whole lot of trophies, but the best and longest lasting memories for a team that worked hard and raced harder.
Chris, Terry, and Greg are also planning to go to Canada, where the Quebec-style side-by-side drag races originate from, to check out the competition there. Nikki, back to you.
We all know COVID impacted the transportation industry in a big way. The car hauling niche was no exception. Let's take a dive into the world of auto transportation with Yellow Brick Transport.
Well, thanks for joining us today. We want to know, what is Yellow Brick Transport?
We started as an auto transport broker. We specialize in auto transportation across the country. We're on all 3 sides: carrier, dispatch, and broker. And our most recent venture is the consulting side, where we actually teach students how to get into the industry with very little money down and coming in with as much experience as possible. Being a broker, you work with a lot of carriers and dispatchers. So we were given carriers load here, a load there, building relationships over the phone to the point where they're just like, hey, can you be my go-to guy? Can you just keep my truck loaded? So we got into the dispatching side. We started dispatching carriers. From there, then we started our first truck, right? It just opened up a whole nother side of the business that I had no experience in because I don't have a CDL. I never had one. I was like, there's no point of me buying trucks if I don't have a CDL. But I realized that's not true. If you can manage the business properly, you can take care of these guys that want to drive, build these relationships, make sure they stay with you, and driver retention is huge. I always preach about that because it's one thing nowadays to find a driver, but it's even harder to retain them because there's so much demand for them, right? And when you talk about auto transport, it's not like your typical freight trucking where these drivers back up to the loading dock, they get loaded, and they keep it moving. You're loading 8 to 10 cars. You're going to multiple different locations. It's very labor intensive for the driver. Harder to even retain those guys because snow, rain, freezing cold, heat, it doesn't matter. They have to get out and they have to load these trucks. In the meantime, there was a lot of drivers that used to contact me, or dispatchers that would contact me and say, hey, you know, can you teach me how to do the other side of the industry? I've been in the truck, my husband's been in the truck, my uncle's been in the truck for so long, I want to get them out and put them in an office. They know the industry, their experience, and so forth. What I came up with is a academy, a course that they can go online, they can do it at their own pace. It's very extensive, it explains everything that they need to know in there, examples, to get them ready to join on the brokering side or the dispatching side. After doing that, I realized there's a huge demand for this, because most people saw during COVID, trucking actually boomed opposed to it going down. So when you see an industry growing while every other industry is coming down, you know that this is a solid place to be.
So how has the new vehicle model shortage impacted your business and just the auto transport business in general?
Last year when the pandemic hit, we were actually super busy up until about, I want to say June. And for like a 4 to 6 week period, all the manufacturers were kind of stalling, trying to figure out what's their next play, right? And at the same time, those individuals that were buying vehicles, they're not gonna not buy a vehicle that they had planned on buying because of a pandemic. Everybody needs their car. In auto transportation, you literally can be a broker and purchase leads of individuals that need to move their car. So unlike other sales in other industries, these are individuals that are saying, hey, I need to move my car from point A to point B. Can you give me a quote? Your only competition is those other companies, mostly brokers, that are giving them a quote. But in our industry, if you can explain the process properly, you build that connection, and you give good customer service, you're gonna do your numbers.
And of course, let us know where people can go to find out more about Yellow Brick Transport and your story.
Our website is yellowbricktransport.com. We're gonna have our Academy website as well, which is gonna launch soon. You'll see it all on our Instagram. So that's a good place to, you know, follow us and connect with us. So that's the shift we're trying to make right now.
Well, that was a lot of really good information from Yellow Brick Transport, Brittany.
Yes, yeah.
Car hauling. You know, I would be so nervous to be hauling cars, especially if it was like some kind of like exotic.
I know, I can't do it. A Lambo.
Yes.
Ooh,
What
don't
did
put me
James
in
say?
charge. Don't-
Automatic pileup if you get in a wreck with those.
Yes. Don't put me in charge.
Yes.
Okay?
Well,
Don't.
let's look on to next week, Brittany.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to be talking about ways to stay safe on the road. Our series, we're going to continue it. And Nikki, this time we are talking to an EMT, and she is going to give us ways to stay safe if you have cut yourself, or if you're having a heart attack, or you think you're having a stroke. She's giving us all the inside details on that.
Ooh, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
I think everybody can learn something from her advice.
Oh, for sure.
Yes, and then our good friends Matt and Joey are back. Don't know just yet what they have in store for us, but you want to make sure to tune in for that. And then we are going to have an amazing beauty truck montage. We know you all love to see those beauty trucks, and we're going to bring it to you.
Ooh, I can't wait to see those either. And don't forget to go over to our Boss Nation site and look at our Boss Box, because we've got double the swag, our summer Boss Box. So much to give away, and it's awesome. We've got some cool pain relief cream in there.
Oh yeah,
also
from Mother Trucker Yoga.
Yes, it's gonna come in handy.
Trucker treats, pretzels.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
Yum.
maybe a hood ornament.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is a Boss Box if you've
It's
ever
a
seen
Boss
one.
Box.
Like, you want to enter
A
to win
boss.
that one, and we are going to announce the winner at the end of the summer, which actually technically ended July. So
Yes, there
we'll
you
have
go.
another one for August.
And be sure to like, share, and subscribe, because we can't keep doing this without you and your support, and you guys are awesome. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe always.
Absolutely. So Brittany, why do we do this?
Because you're the boss.